Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition for tonight's headlines. We have the head of state inaugurates new headquarters of the BCIMR Bank. The opening of the first ordinary session of the year 2021 of the Parliament. For the international scene, COVID-19 in South Africa, a spectacular drop in cases. Welcome to our newsroom. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, inaugurates the new headquarters of the BCIMR on the Mahmoud Haid Road on Monday, 1st March, in the presence of the Director General of Bread Group, Olivier Klein, the Director General of the BCIMR, Régis Berriac, and more than 300 guests, including civil, military, and religious authority, as well as representative of the diplomatic corps accredited in Djibouti and UN institution. The new headquarters The new headquarters of the BCIMR is very modern and has really projected the bank into the modernity and the 21st centuries. For the teams, it is the incomparable working conditions which have also allowed the client to appreciate the new BCIMR better welcomed at the head of offices in the branches. A feeling of renewal and positive ambitions has reigned for some time within this bank. The BCIMR, which is a historic bank in Djibouti, is getting closer and closer to the population to provide them with the services they expect. It is truly available every day of the week to provide them with the services they expect. The presence of the BCIMR throughout the countries is growing stronger. In early December, the Obok branch was opened and the Dikil branch will be inaugurated on March 13. And in Arta, thanks to a partnership with the post office, a point of presence will be inaugurated. At a time when we are talking about banking inclusion, it is important that the banks make effort to provide services to all Djiboutians who wish to do so, and it is important that the BCIMR shows us through the opening of new branches to have a complete coverage of the territories, and especially in Djibouti. It should be remembered that the BCIMR is the oldest bank in Djibouti, where it has been present for more than 15 years, in addition to members of the government, including Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, the President of the National Assembly, Mohamed Ali Ahmed, the main Djiboutian officials at the head of our economic and financial institution, including the Governor of the Central Bank, Ahmed Osman Ali, the President of the Port and Free Zone Authority, Abubakar Umar Haddi, took part in the inaugurations of the new headquarters of the BCIMR. Also note the presence at this event of the Ambassador of the French Republic to the Republic of Djibouti, Mr. Arnaud Guillois, the Director General of the Bread, Olivier Klein, the Director General of the BCIMR, Régis Berriac, and the Deputy Director General of the BCIMR, Mr. Abdallah Ibrahim Abdallah. The speeches were started by the Director General of the BCIMR in Djibouti, Mr. Régis Berriac. Let's listen to his excerpt in this video.
Very honored to welcome you this morning in the shadow of this beautiful building, the new headquarters of the BCI. The symbols are never by chance like an organ, a century-old tree that has been firmly anchored in the soul of Djibouti since 1954. And like this building towards the sky where new bridges grow with new buds towards Ubokh, Arta, Dikil, the BCIMR is there for the Djiboutians. 14 vigorous branches carried out on a soil trunk. BCIMR is a beautiful bank, the first bank in the country to serve the country, the Djiboutians. Big projects like young entrepreneurs. BCIMR is a Djiboutian bank within the Bird Group. 51% shareholder, and with the benevolence of the Djiboutian state, 33% shareholder, a land of projects, the ports, of course, the umbilical cord to Ethiopia, but also telecoms, energy, and tomorrow renewable energy, in which the country is going to become one of the African leaders. The BCI, a leading international bank, wants to accompany the country's development in the best international standards, thus attracting investors from all over the world. The BCI is also a bank for all Djiboutians, promoting bank inclusion throughout the country, in Djibouti, both in the city and in the regions.
For his part, the Director General of BRED, Olivier Klein, expressed his satisfaction and joy that the ceremony was honored by the President of the Republic. Let's listen to him.
It is a great pleasure and an honor for me to be here with you to officially inaugurate this new headquarters, which has a history. We know that, but a story that has a happy ending. And this new headquarters is in fact a way for all of us to recognize the role of the BCI in Djibouti. As its true height, our old headquarters were indeed quite well placed, but it had become a bit old fashioned. In addition to being a bit cramped, and it is in a way, and even in a certain way, a very symbolic way for us. By being here now in this new headquarters, to give the real importance of the BCI and its monetary within the Republic of Djibouti. It is also the image we give to the client and it's fundamental. And then it is the image that is also given to the bank's employees, and that is no less important. An image that is worthy of the fact that they are professional, competent, dynamic, modern, and demanding in terms of quality of service. This is also what we are trying to vent, this differentiation which allows us, I believe, to be the country's leading bank for a long time to come. The BCI is a beautiful and great Djiboutian bank. The first one was recalled by the managing director, of which BRID has a majority alongside the Djiboutian state in particular. And this alliance works very well, and I really thank the President of the Republic. The BRID Group is a shareholder member of the BPCE, which is the second largest banking group in France, but also one of the top 20 banks in the world. The BRID Group has 6,000 employees and 2,000 outside France. We are in the Horn of Africa in Djibouti, with an office in Addis Ababa, with perhaps medium to long-term possibilities of developing a bank together. We are in Southeast Asia. We have 5 billion in equity capital. We have very high sovereign ratios of 17%. The central banker, I hope, will appreciate that. And everywhere in the world, as in Djibouti, of course, it meets the national regulations of the country's banking regulations and compliance regulations, but also the BCI regulations that are required, including in all the territories where we can carry out our banking business.
And finally, the governor of the central bank, Ahmed Osman Ali, indicated that the drastic change that has been made in the country's financial sector for more than 2 decades. Listen to him.
Célébrons aujourd'hui, au-delà de l'installation d'un nouveau siège, la formidable aventure du Banque pionnière à Djibouti.
Today we are celebrating beyond the installation of a new head office, the formidable adventure of the pioneer banks in Djibouti. I am also pleased to be associated with the general management of the BCI. It is my pleasure to welcome you all in this splendid building, which is now the bank's head office. In this regard, I would like particularly to welcome the presence among us of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh. On behalf of the provision, I would like to express our warmest thanks for your presence among us, despite your agenda, which we know is very busy, and wish you and the personalities accompanying you a warm welcome. The BCI is no longer to be presented. It has been part of our economic and financial history for a very long time. And even my predecessors have just reminded us of its history, and I will spare you the trouble of not attending. I would simply like to insist that the BCI also represents, and in a way, an excellent illustration of many privileged partnerships ties between France and Djibouti, which have been strengthened by the very recent meeting between the two head of states, President Ismail Omar Guelleh and President Emmanuel Macron. This outlook and the performance of previous years are not the results of chance, but stems from a vision of well-thought-out strategy deployed under the leadership of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh. In fact, lacking in natural wealth and subject to a demanding and arid nature, our country has been able to rely on its main asset, namely its geostrategic position, building a singular growth and development model based on a unique port and logistics offer.
The National Assembly and its President, His Excellency Mohammed Ali Hamad, proceeded on March 1, 2021 to the traditional opening of the first ordinary session of the year 2021 of the Parliament, the solemnity of the opening with the honors paid by the National Gendarmerie, as well as the performance of the national anthem in the hemicycle in the presence and in the participations of the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, the Member of Parliament, the Member of Government, President and of institutions of the Republic, representative of the diplomatic corps and consular corps accredited in Djibouti, the military, local and traditional authorities. The sessions on Monday, March 1 gave rise to a solemn ceremony punctuated by the speeches, including the opening remarks of the Speaker of the National Assembly and the Prime Minister's speech on the situations of the nation. In his speech, the President of the National Assembly, Mohamed Ali Mohammed, spoke about the presidential deadlines, in which he urged his colleague, elected representative of the nation, to present the attractions of the candidacy programs of the majority movement. Listen to him, please.
Ainsi réunis pour la reprise des travaux parlementaires de la session ordinaire de mars 2021.
I would like to extend a warm welcome to you in our hemicycle. Thank you for your renewed interest in our institution, our democracy in the Republic. The parliamentary truce has been an opportune moment for us to recharge our batteries deep within our constitutions and meet our electorates again. This reunion was a good opportunity to learn about the expectations and daily difficulties of our fellow citizens. We are re-energized, full of motivation and enthusiasm to carry out the mandate entrusted to us by our people. Dear colleagues, allow me to express my deepest gratitude for all the dedication you have shown during the parliamentary truce. It is to our credit, as we are working to strengthen the development and integration of all our Djiboutian brothers and sisters in the dynamics of economic development and social progress. The beauty and the strength of our democracy lies in overcoming our differences when we come together around the beautiful dynamic of common and shared socio-economic progress. Honorable members of parliament, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, our country is getting ready to experience crucial electoral events in the first half of 2021. The nation is called upon to choose a leader to guide its destiny. The national representatives can be delighted with the announced candidacy of the head of state, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, our president who has already led the destiny of our great and beautiful nation towards brighter horizons. Over the past 2 decades, the people of Djibouti have always been able to make the right choices to meet the challenges of facing them. In these troubled times, when the planet is struggling to cope with a serious global pandemic, our fellow citizens will know how to elect the right man to steer the boat and bring our social project to a successful conclusion.
The Prime Minister, His Excellency Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, presented the general policy statement to the national representation. Listen to him, please.
Même si j'ai qualifié d'extraordinaire cet appel de la jeunesse,
even if I have described this call from the youth as extraordinary, it is because young Djiboutians have become aware of the importance for them, for their future, of being led by the President of the Republic. Djiboutian youth, students, young entrepreneurs, young workers, or just young people looking for work consider that the President of the Republic is the only man who will ensure them a better future, the only man they can trust. This is their real motivation. Ladies and gentlemen, in presenting the general policy of the government, I will take inspiration from the popular will of the youth. Of course, the government includes a Ministry of Youth, a Ministry of National Education, and a Ministry of Labor, and a Ministry of Higher Education, all of which are the forefront of this fight for youth. But I want to highlight that all members of the government are actively and jointly involved in the promotion and development of Djiboutian youth. The first expectation of the youth is to be well trained, to find a job. The government is responding to this today and is looking for new ways to do so in the future. Indeed, the government is continuing its efforts in the fields of education and vocational training in all sectors. This long-term work has first of all enabled all children to attend school, even in the most remote parts of the country. In this way, the government is working to ensure that the human potential represented by our young and old becomes the first national assist. It organizes education and this training to adapt it to technical progress, the demands of the job market, and its adaptation to future development projects.
The Prime Minister outlined the government's plan in the main sector, including the functioning of institutions, health, education, employment, internal security, and the state authority, justice, and agriculture. Listen to him, please.
Je coordonne ces échanges interministériels pour permettre un développement harmonieux de notre jeunesse.
I coordinate this inter-ministerial exchange to enable the harmonious development of our youth and our changing society. Human resource needs will be analyzed and taken into account well in advance of the implementation of the programs. Everything is being done to achieve this objective. The most recent example of this is the latest employment form, which brings together employers and young people looking for work. It has led to concrete recruitment of many young people. But it is not the only example. The government has also taken initiatives to facilitate initial contracts between young people and employers through assisted employment or internships. The aim is twofold: to bring young people closer to the world of work and its demands, and to enable employers to find new national capabilities. The security and defense forces are also involved in recruiting young people to their units. Young men and women are also trained in this corps. This will facilitate their integration into life, either by continuing their career or upon their return to civilian life. Moreover, the educational role of these bodies is very important, both in terms of civic education and strengthening national unity. As a result, young people without diplomas are not forgotten by the government. They will be able to find in the armed forces the training they did not have the opportunity to have in civilian life.
The Prime Minister also highlighted the government strategies undertakings in our countries in various areas ranging from education, health, employment. Listen to him, please.
Ce mieux vivre voulu par la jeunesse concerne également l'environnement de vie au quotidien.
This better living desired by young people also concerns the everyday living environment, housing, sanitation, urban transport, security, water, and electricity supply are, for a large number of our fellow citizens, a source of difficulties. The government is aware of these problems for housing, which is one of the government's top priorities. Solutions are being implemented as quickly as possible. The presidential commitment with the Housing Foundation is a symbol of this. The government's willingness to eradicate slums with bullets. Balbala is another testimony to this. In order to achieve this objective, very many social housing construction programs are being carried out. Thousands of new housing units will soon be available. Land to be urbanized will be also made available to the inhabitants on the model of the Burwako, which is currently underway. The importance given by the government to the provision of decent housing for all serves as a driving force for the private housing construction sector. Many investors are carrying out major housing construction projects in all districts of the capital and in the centers of the interior. All social strata are targeted by these projects. In order to reduce the pressure on the demand for decent housing, the banking financial system is also involved, admittedly still too timidly, in the financing of construction projects for the development of all these building programs. We are going to reduce the pressure on rents and limit land speculation. This will enable young people to have access to new housing under better financial conditions.
The President of the National Assembly, Mohamed Ali Mohamed, received this Monday, March 1, 2021, on the sidelines of the solemn opening sessions of the first ordinary session of Parliament, the courtesy visit of the new ambassador of the United States of America, accredited to Djibouti, Mr. Jonathan Pratt. The meeting took place in the VIP lounge of Parliament in the presence of the Chief Staff Idris Mohammed Ahmed. The Speaker of the National Assembly extended a warm welcome to the Honorable Jonathan Pratt to the Republic of Djibouti. He expressed his satisfactions with the good cooperation relations between Djibouti and U.S. In the means to develop them in order to serve the interests of the Djiboutian and American peoples. It was a good opportunity to present the functioning of the National Assembly and to briefly outline the work planned for the current session. Interior Minister Mumin Ahmed Sheikh received in the afternoon the new ambassador of the United States of America, Mr. Jonathan Pratt, in his office. The Interior Minister welcomed the new ambassador and pledged his support for the accomplishments of his diplomatic missions in Djibouti. The minister did not fail to underline the good relationship that exists between the Republic of Djibouti and the United States of America. For his part, the ambassador thanked the minister for his more than warm welcome and recalled the quality of relations between two countries that are in good shape. The Secretary General of the Ministry of Interior, Mr. Siraj Omar Abdul Qadir, participated in the meeting. The Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohamed Mahamoud, today launched the third editions of the competition of Olympiade des Métiers. These three-round sessions of the biennial competitions of technical education and the event took place under the huge marquees erected and several members of the government, the capital edifice and business leaders, as well as other high-ranking personalities took part in the ceremony. The event follows the success of the first edition is unlike those organized in 2017 and 2019. The various events will take place under a large tent in front of the People's Palace. It must be said that the Olympiade des Métiers is the only competition for trading the images of Olympic Games, and Djibouti is the only African country to organize it regularly. It should be noted that this event is in line with the policy of promoting the country's youth through technical education, vocational training of the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh. Since its first edition is in April 2017, the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohamed Mahamoud, has made the Career Olympics the expressions of this strong political will of the head of state in terms of vocational training, and has also placed it as a national event not to be missed. Each year, the Olympiade des Métiers brings together young learners for all ETFP establishments to represent their respective establishments by 3 days of intense competitions. The different team of competitors compete in the various trades open to competition with the sole aim of becoming the best trades team in their category. At the end of the competition, each trade team must present a finished ready-to-use product to a jury of professionals. Competitors are evaluated on the basis of a series of elements such as respect for the time allotted for competitions of the work, optimal use of materials, quality of the the quality of the production, innovative aspect of the product, team spirit. For the 2021 editions, 246 young competitors from 12 ETFP establishment grouped into 82 trade teams will compete in 11 trades: masonry, sanitary installations, building, electricity, industrial electricity, carpentry, welding, refrigerations and air conditioning, automotive mechanics, computer networks, cooking and sewing. In his opening speech, the Minister of National Education and Vocational Training, Mustafa Mohamed Mahamoud, reiterated his commitment to the organizations of such an event. He also wished good luck to all the young competitors. The best professional teams will be rewarded at the People's Palace on Thursday, 3 March 2021. A team from the Djibouti Office for the Development of Geothermal Energy, led by their Director General, Mr. Dr. Khayad Musa Ahmed, visited yesterday the locality of Anglais in the Dikil regions on a mission to launch the second phase of the drilling programs of Anglais Garabais. This mission is in line with the objectives of the Djiboutian government, which is to become the first African country to use 100% green energy by 2035. To achieve this objective through the Anglais Garabais Geothermal Development Project, financed by JICA, is started its second phase of the drilling programs and aims to develop the social components for the recruitment of the local youth as well as the constructions of access roads to the drilling platforms, the installations of a live camp, and the setting up of a water supply line, which is proven to be necessary. The drilling project involves the construction of 2 exploration wells to validate the geothermal potential estimated at 36 megawatt. During the trip, the Director General of ODEG met the elders and wise men of the locality in the presence of the sub-prefect of Yobuki. Discussions focused on the benefits of this project for the locality of Hanle Garabais. And for his part, the Director General of ODEG, Dr. Qayad, said in his speech that this drilling project will create 80 direct and indirect jobs. On the mornings of Wednesday, 17 February 2021, the Coast Guard received the pupils of the primary school of Balbala 11 at Camp Durale, accompanied by the staff of a pedagogical outing. To complete their visit to the Coast Guard, another sea trip to Musha Island in the morning of Saturday, 27 February 2021, was organized for the 30 pupils of Balbala 11 school selected by merits by the school management. A transport system was made available to the young school children to take them to Camp Durale, the main installations of the Coast Guard. The pupils of Balbala 11 primary school and their teacher were very well received once they arrived at Camp Durale. This was followed by a short visit to the various departments and service within the Camp Durale for the benefit of the students of Balbala 11 primary school, and entertainment activities, video screening, and living the day at the Durale camp for young school children. The day of pedagogical visit of the pupils of Balbala 11 primary school at Camp Durale ended with a refreshment offer on the occasions by the commander of the Coast Guard, as I agreed for a sea trip on Saturday, 27 February. An important security system was put in place to receive the pupils of Balbala 11 primary school, accompanied by the staff of the enable them to enjoy the educational outing to the Coast Guard in complete safety. For the international scene, COVID-19 in South Africa, a dramatic drop in cases. South Africa President Cyril Ramaphosa announced on the evening of Sunday, 28 February, a further easing of restrictions imposed on Monday to stem the spread of COVID-19 in the worst affected countries on the continent after dramatic drops in the number of contaminations. This relief, which comes into force at midnight on Sunday, will allow a resumption of most economic activities in South Africa, which has been severely damaged by the virus. In a televised address, Cyril Ramaphosa reported steady declines in infections and hospital admissions over the past 8 weeks. Thanks to the drop in infection, the country can now ease some restrictions on travel and economic activity, he said. We are doing so cautiously, the South African president added. As a result, South Africa is moving directly from alert level 3 to alert level 1 on a scale of 5, and the national curfew is also being shortened and will now be in effect between midnight and 4 a.m. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.